What's popping, y'all? What's popping, y'all? Unfortunately, I'm one of those people who am infatuated with this Gypsy Rose drama shit, bro. I know I shouldn't like that shit, bro. I actually despise that girl sometimes, but I don't know. I watched the show. I think this dude, Papa Meat, I never heard of cuz I never seen his review, but 1 million views is crazy. So let's see what the homie got to talk about. Go watch the show, bro. It's ridiculous, man. I swear, if I could do anything in life, I would love to interview Big Ryan, bro. Let's see what this dude's talking about, bro.
Back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How
Oh,
you
let me-
doing?
let me
Come on
talk
in and
off.
sit on down because today we're talking about a polarizing character, Gypsy Rose.
She's the girl online that sounds like this.
Gypsy Rose reporting from Aurora, Missouri. I am about to dive off our porch.
Which
I'm
I'm,
not
gonna, I'm
la-
gonna let you know right now.
I'm not laughing at her, y'all. I'm laughing with y'all.
Be a bit rude towards her voice. It's very mousy and it's funny. It's funny. What am I supposed to say? It's funny. From an outsider looking in, you might say, well, why is this person so polarizing? Well, you might not know it by looking at her, but she was arrested for second-degree murder in the murder
Yeah,
of her
crazy.
mother, who was a bit of a character as well. Yes, this is a convicted murderer, technically.
I didn't want to have to actually kill her, but I did.
It's a weird gray area because I didn't mention yet that her mother subjected her to lifelong physical, mental, and even medical abuse.
Just proves that happy endings are not just in fairy tales, they're real.
So a lot of people see this as self-defense in a way. A person trapped in a
I don't-
horrible
well, I'll discuss it
prison
then.
in her own home, lying to the public, and the only way out was murder. It's like a little Sherlock Holmes case. It's a little Inspector Gadget. That's who we need for this. Inspector Gadget could have cleared up the whole situation right there. I mean, on one hand, she's a murderer who should be condemned for her sins, but at least she killed someone who's an evil bitch, right? Or at least that's what the people on social media are saying. The internet loves a good revenge story. It's one of the cruxes of human experiences, or the big evil guy getting his, the little man being able to punch up and kill God. And in this case,
Love
it's
Street Fighter,
Gypsy
by the way,
Rose having somebody from like a vampire website that she was getting finger f***ed by stabbed
No.
her mom like 37 times.
Yeah,
in
she played the
all
homie.
over her body, just like John Wick. This has
She
been
played
covered
that
by a
crazy
lot of
dude.
people. There's been documentaries. There's even been a Hulu show that we'll talk about. But
Great
now,
show.
as of recently, I was surprised to know that she got released from jail and that she's a reality TV star. When I found out that a second-degree murderer had their own reality television show and it's like relationship gossip, dude, I am a sucker for trash television. If you look at my Amazon Prime purchases, it's nothing. It's like legitimately 9 seasons of Gold Rush. I mean, Deadliest Catch, American Choppers. I love me some schlock television, and especially when I found out that it was by Lifetime Network for women. Oh my God. All the movies are on that channel are man beats woman until finally the police arrest her. So like it does make sense in a way. I was totally bought in.
Did you ever see the movie about David, the boy who was burnt alive by his father?
Fuck.
I saw this one movie, but it was all about like this guy in San Francisco who is a public teacher. He moves into like a garage out back, and then like the 14-year-old daughter is trying to like suck and him the whole time. He's like, I can't. I feel like everybody saw that movie.
And then she like stole his condom, right?
She stole his condom and all this kind of stuff.
We found semen inside of her.
I was positive I read something or I saw something from a producer, and back in the day they're like, I mean, any guy just would have done it. So I mean, he's kind of a hero, but at the same time, what kind of head does he have on his shoulders? And you're like, yep, those early 90s Lifetime movies were primo. Today I want to thank today's sponsor, Factor! Let me tell you,
Shout out to Factor. Send me some food.
better every time I sit down and eat. The best part of filled in on Gypsy Rose and her experience, because this story is, I mean, it feels fictitious. It's that comical and grand and fantastical that you wouldn't believe it. It feels like something out of a fucking M. Night Shyamalan movie or something like that. That's a bad director to choose. That's a horrible one. Yes.
The twist.
Oh, the twist is that she's actually not sick. Oh, it does work. Okay. Gypsy Rose has a very, very unique case of abuse. She's a survivor and victim of one of the most famous instances of Munchausen by proxy. What kind of fucking name for a disease is that? From her mother, Claudine D.D. Blanchard. Typically, Munchausen syndrome is when someone tries to get attention and sympathy by faking and exaggerating their own illness. Munchausen's by proxy is when you basically keep somebody sick in order to get that kind of
Reap
attention.
the benefits.
So Dee Dee
I don't know if it was so
fucking
much about
balls to
attention. I
fake all
think
this
that
shit
they was
herself.
getting
She's
paid.
just like, oh, my husband ran out on me. I'm just gonna abuse my daughter, and it is absolutely f***ed. And also, I want to point out that unbelievable that doctors just went along with this for as long as
That's
they
my
did.
thing.
Dee Dee had Gypsy Rose come out as
How the doctors not see and be like, wait, I don't think she really got woo bop bop and wop. That's crazy. I mean, maybe the mom might be good at manipulating. I don't know.
as basically a cancer survivor.
She obviously
would give her
was, I'm
all
just
kinds
saying,
of
like,
surgeries that she
manipulate a
didn't
doctor?
need, had her fucking teeth removed. She would actively shave her head, and by doing so, the public, I mean, who would ever know? This girl is wheelchair bound. She doesn't let her associate with any people in the neighborhood at all, and then she puts her in basically children's clothing. I've seen a lot of pictures of her with in a princess outfit. I mean, it pulls on your heartstrings.
Yeah,
'cause
those
you're just
pictures
like,
are
how
like, she's like
cruel and
17 or
unfair
something
is
like
this
that. Like,
world
she's
that we
grown.
live
Like,
in.
no.
But by doing so, she was
What
able
what
to
at the
get a
time?
house built in Missouri. She was able to get tons and tons and tons of money donated to her, meet celebrities, go to Disney World,
Right,
all kinds
elaborate.
of stuff, which to be fair,
Nice.
the last two that I said don't really, I can't end it on going to Disney World, but for some people, they're just like, that's all I need. Make a wish, baby. And the list of abuse that Dee Dee made Gypsy endure is quite extensive. Here's a brief timeline of events to kind of let you know what was going on. When
Okay.
Gypsy was 1 year old, Dee Dee pretended that Gypsy had sleep apnea and made her use a CPAP machine.
Damn.
At 1 year old, that thing that you see your obese 86-year-old grandfather using, that's what an infant baby was using, okay? When Gypsy was 8 years old, Dee Dee claimed she had muscular dystrophy and forced her to use a wheelchair, which must have been extremely mentally confusing whenever you're like, I walk around the house all day.
Look at the
why do I
video,
have
that's
to
what I'm
sit
saying,
in
so
this
that's why her
fucking
pops
chair
was,
all
like,
day and pretend
tripping.
I can't walk.
I could
Oh, what
see
the hell?
the transition in my field. I had to sit back and ask myself, am I going
And Gypsy was even tricked into thinking she had seizures and was forced to take seizure medication that caused her teeth to rot out of her mouth.
I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital to see my dentist for my teeth.
This then resulted in her getting them surgically extracted. If they weren't dangling and falling out by themselves, Dee Dee was quite the trooper and just said, why not just go down to the dentist and pull those bad boys out ourselves? Dee Dee would tell people that Gypsy had leukemia and would regularly shave her head to make people think she was receiving chemotherapy. Oh, God, you just want to fucking punch her in the face, dude. That's so
Yeah, it's
Dee
kind
Dee
of
made
messed up.
doctors install a feeding tube into Gypsy's stomach. It's like a mechanic, a car mechanic. So you just want the tube here? All right, well, let me grab my big fucking knife
How do
here.
doctors not be like,
Gypsy was forced
she
to bring an
can eat?
oxygen tank when leaving the house, and she had her saliva glands removed because of excessive drooling. Which is why now, too, that's why I think she licks her lips so much now. So you'll see her a lot, and she looks like she's doing some weird frog thing, which is like, whatever, but it's just because she's so fucking saliva glands. It's like some weird, hostile torture shit. You know what I mean? Like an Eli Roth movie or something. Well, now, Gypsy, you're drooling too much. We gotta pop those glands out. She's like, well, if you didn't keep me hooked on this fucking CPAP machine and all this medication, I wouldn't drool as much. Shh, child. Dee Dee would tell other people that Gypsy had the mind of a 7-year-old and would continuously lie about Gypsy's age to keep her younger than what she actually was. The celebrity meetups, the trips to Disney and all that stuff, which of course, dude, of course Dee Dee was a Disney adult. Of course.
Oh, no.
Watch those fucking kids in wheelchairs. And I hate to even say that because I don't want to put that bad omen on anybody, but those Disney adults, you got to keep an eye on them for real. She was fed only Pediasure, a dietary supplement for children, until she was in her 20s. Here you go, drink that.
Damn.
And chew because all your teeth are gone. She has more fucking silver in her mouth than a goddamn werewolf hunter. Have you seen her mouth. Oh my God. It wasn't until she was older that she started to realize that all these ailments her mother said she had weren't actually real. So even her entire life, even Gypsy believed it. It wasn't until she was much older where she actually was like, oh, I'm being lied to. Because also when you're emotionally and mentally abused, I feel like you probably stagnate mentally.
Looking at her now, she's definitely doesn't have the mind of a child. It was just like the persona of like act like a child.
You're in on the bit so long that you get lost in it probably. What am I supposed to do? Just
Lie
tell
so
people
much
it's
you start
not real
believing
now?
your
My
lie.
Mom will kill me probably. So Gypsy tried to run away.
she's
in 2011.
childish right now,
But when
ish.
Dee Dee found her, she smashed her computer with a hammer and
She acts all like right now she has like the situation. Obviously, I'm skipping ahead, but I'm not gonna spoil alert. She got this relationship situation. But forget about the relationship. But during the relationship, for example, in both relationships that you'll see, she acts so childish, like it's a high school fling, and you know what I'm saying. But she never she never had a chance to do the high school stuff, the breakups, the phone calls, the little letters and stuff like that. She didn't get to have no high school, nor middle school, or no life. So
physically restrained her to her bed for 2 weeks. And it wasn't until 2012 when Gypsy was able to get on social media by secretly accessing her computer while her mom slept. I'll tell you what, her mom's a big old girl, let me tell you. No wonder she's probably able to play RuneScape and everything too. I mean, I bet that bitch was out cold. This led her to meet an autistic man named Nicholas Gojo.
yeah, she played this
His
fool.
name's Nicholas.
Your name is Nicholas, and you might be f***ing autistic, dude. He was from Big Bend, Wisconsin, and had an IQ of 82.
You stupid.
And believed that he was a 500-year-old vampire. Forgot to tell you that. She was on a vampire dating website.
Look at her.
It feels normal compared to the life that she lives.
She played the homie,
Nicholas.
Nicholas
Little
stuff.
old vampire give me hickeys on my neck and shit. A little dating website. I probably would have been down with that back in like 2012. He was also arrested for masturbating in a McDonald's parking lot. I just want to throw that in there. Just to really slip that under you. It was the McRib, baby. The McRib is back. What are you supposed to do? For 3 years, they communicated in secret. And in 2015, the two conspired to murder Dee Dee and set Gypsy free from her prison. Originally, the plan was to get Gypsy pregnant, but that quickly changed to murder. The spectrum feels a bit odd. On June 9th, 2015.
That's why it doesn't make sense that, you know, she out and cuz got the L. Spoiler alert, he caught the big L, obviously. But he would say, too, this, I don't know if the dude's going to mention it, but he would say, like, hey, let's just run away. Let's just run away. And she was like, no, it's not enough. So it was a, premeditated thing by her.
Nicholas arrived at Gypsy's house in Springfield, Missouri. Gypsy handed him a stolen knife, duct tape, and gloves in order to murder her mom. As Dee Dee slept, Gypsy hid in the bathroom and covered her ears as Nicholas entered Dee Dee's room and stabbed her 17 times. And what's f***ed up is Gypsy even said that she heard her mother crying for her help, but she didn't answer, and she just listened to her mom get murdered in the next room, screaming in pain. The two were arrested and charged with first-degree murder, but because of the abuse Gypsy endured, she was able to accept a plea deal that lowered her charge to second-degree murder, which resulted in a 10-year prison sentence. Do you think 10 years is enough? Now, here's the whole thing, too. Nicholas, yes, he did do the murdering thing. He was a monster himself.
The difference is Gypsy was abused and Nicholas wasn't.
No, sure.
But
How
she
could you not
manipulated
feel
him to do
sympathy
that,
for
though.
Gypsy? Is it a horrible thing she did? Yes. Was she of sound of mind? No, there's no way. She gained so much notoriety from the story, and people talking about her in prison. Her story was shared. There was a documentary made about her named Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, which I'm pretty sure is a play on Mommy Dearest, where the star mom basically abuses the children. And
Love
they
that
even
movie.
adapted that story into a Hulu show in 2019 called The Act.
Great show.
It's pretty good. I'd recommend it. In her times in prison, there was so much media coverage of her to where it feels like this boiling point that we're about to get to was all just this long fuse that was lit from these shows like Dr. Phil, ABC, even a show called Gypsy's Revenge, which feels like an Aladdin sequel or something like that. I don't know. Gypsy was released 2 years early from prison for good behavior. She only had to serve 8 of the 10 years, so everyone was like,
this
my
is
God,
where the
Gypsy,
fun
you
begins.
did a couple
I don't want to say fun
years.
begins. Sorry.
Shortly after her release, it was announced
This
that
is
she would
where
get a
the
reality
reality
television
starts,
show of
sir,
her
you
life
know.
called Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup. Now you're all caught up. This show, to me, raised
Okay,
a
I see.
weird, important, ethical question. On one hand, it offers a platform for people to re-indoctrinate this queen back into society as a
Go off,
normal,
queen.
functional human being who is the victim of Munchausen by proxy. But it also kind of raises a little red flags to me when you try to make a reality social media star out of a person who was the victim of Munchausen's by proxy. And the way that they dealt with that was getting a vampire boyfriend and stabbing mom 17 times and doing all that stuff in prison. Maybe you just don't go on camera. Maybe you just live life like a...
Some people said because he said I only hit her like 10 times. There was only 3 people in the house. Did Gypsy get some licks in too?
Regular human being and don't have people all around you. She says in the show that she uses it
And
as a platform.
he's maintained his story
for,
too,
voice
Nicholas.
for others who might be going through the same thing she is, which I'm like, how many fucking people are going through that shit? Which I mean, I guess if somebody, you know, is watching the show and they're like, that's me, also in their wheelchair, I don't fucking know. It could be beneficial. It just feels odd.
This dude's
Let me
hype
give you the
right
little high school tea drop part of this. During her time in prison, she dated a man named Ken Urich, which
Here we
eventually
go.
led to them getting engaged while she was in prison. But before they actually got married, Ken left Gypsy because of social media stuff, I think, or something like that. And Gypsy was absolutely devastated and immediately rebounded with a Louisiana school teacher named Ryan Anderson. Ryan is such a weird big mover.
Ryan, man.
I don't.
Her story, you know, just hit me. And I thought, gosh, she's cute.
Imagine watching any of these Gypsy Rose documentaries and you're like, that is insane that would happen
They
to you.
buried
Can I just tell you,
Ryan
you
on the
have
show.
Gorgeous
Destroyed
eyes.
him.
It just feels like right over his head. So Gypsy started dating Ryan and then they got married in 2022 while she was in prison. And this new reality show picks up from her getting picked up from prison, and Ryan is the one who picked her up from
Oh,
prison.
boy,
and
yes,
you really
he
start to
was.
see that actually all of the conflict in her life is extremely boring and very petty. As soon as Ryan picks her up, I mean, that motherfucker does not take any time to get those paws in between those legs. He's like,
Feels so weird being in a car.
Yeah.
God damn, baby, you look good. He's got some of that Louisiana charm. Which during the drive home, I was like, it'd be just so funny if they rolled the car. Not that they actually get hurt, but he's like, oh shit, he's such a big man in this Cadillac. Which I was also like, there's no way that's your car. The interview asks how the first night was, which, you know, the next night they get to go to bed and then it's like a really creepy, like almost like found footage horror film of them in a hotel room. You have to imagine too, on this reality television show, there's probably a cameraman, some kind of producer there, and like a sound guy. So there's, I mean, I would say at least 3 people in there in this tiny room. And they're all just standing there and they're like, how was your first night? And she's pretty much just like,
Yeah, we consummated our marriage. Yeah.
We got to consummate our marriage.
We did get to do that. She was so nervous.
and then he's just like, yeah, I pretty much f***ed her pussy real good. And I just have to imagine the camera guy just kind of like,
This is not a water bottle. It's an air-up bottle that flavors.
okay. The next thing they do is they go get shoes from a store. They try to make it seem like, oh, the public knows that Gypsy got those 2 guys outside of like a Ross
that's real good.
less place. She's able to get her shoes, and they're like,
man.
Gypsy, you don't get more shoes? She's like,
I'm hoping so.
whatever. And Ryan can't handle any of it. He's just like, I think they might be following us. I think they're following us the entire time. That's all he gives a fuck about.
We're being followed.
And I'm like, dude, yeah, he has all these cameras on his car, and he's wondering like, well, oh yeah, the paparazzi's following us. No shit, dude. Gypsy is going to Kansas City to see a Chiefs game and hopefully meet Taylor Swift.
What are your thoughts on the Chiefs game? The media portraying it as, you know, she's going there to meet Taylor Swift.
Right.
It
could be bad.
I don't like it.
And her parole officer calls her, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? You need to go down to Louisiana. And she's like,
Dumbass.
I actually.
You ain't going to no football game. Get the dumbass over here and test.
Approve I can go.
Our plan was we were gonna.
Our plan was already set.
Our plan was already set to stay a few days in Kansas
Yeah,
City.
with our POs.
And with my parole officer's permission, he said that that's fine.
Big Ryan was
They're
just
basically
too
like,
much,
you're fucking
man.
go down to Louisiana. He's like, baby, come on, give me the phone. This is some horror shit. And it's just a bunch of awkward editing. They go back and forth, but pretty much for the whole episode, it's her getting calls from her parole officer and her just being in rooms crying, with Ryan kind of awkwardly walking around, you know, just trying to be like, hey, I guess it's kind of weird that I'm a part of the family, huh?
They're my people now, too. They my family, too, so.
Yeah.
I'm part of the family now.
Yeah, I guess I'm part of the family. If you want to cook me something, you can. The first episode ends pretty much with Gypsy walking up to her dad's wife and being like,
Hi, Mom.
Give me a hug,
Cute.
Mom.
Spoiler alert, she's the one that ruins everything.
I don't know if I want Gypsy to call me mom, dude. Episode 2, the only thing I could keep thinking was just wondering if she was going to kill again. If there was any part of her that was going to snap and convince Ryan, who is this hulking Louisiana ogre, you know, the part in Harry Potter, Troll in the dungeon. Does Ryan not look like that guy? Kind of. But he's huge. Can you imagine if she was just, the last time it was a little pipsqueak vampire kid.
Hey, you should stab my mom.
And now it's a 6'8" gorilla, basically.
You should go rob a bank.
Whatever my little Rose wants, little Rose gets. They just bring up Gypsy having sex with Ryan so much.
We've been having sex the last 2 nights.
No, there's a weird part where she tells her mom, and she's like, I'm so happy for you, and hugs her. The mom looks like a little bog witch.
I'm young. My hair's really black.
She's like, I'm so happy for you. Ryan's like, yeah, I guess I got a big old gorilla dick on me. Which I know there was a big thing on social media. She said is D's fire.
They jealous because you are rocking my world every night.
They jealous.
The D is fire.
She has to like remove her teeth and do a bunch of stuff, and then her body's covered in scars, and she wants to make sure that Ryan likes her body. Which I'm like, that motherfucker's probably on the other side of the wall, tapping the wall. He's like, my little Freddy Krueger. The episode pretty much ends with Gypsy showing Ryan one of her prison drinks, which is just coffee juice with soda and Jolly Ranchers.
When I was still in prison, I told them about a favorite drink of mine.
Oh, okay, like bust down a spread.
Coffee with a soda. For flavor, you crush up some Jolly Ranchers.
I believe it's called a dope fiend coffee. Don't ask how I know.
Add that to it. You mix it all together and also juice, and then you serve it over ice.
The one thing she's like,
I drink this every day.
Ryan has like this horrible look in his eyes, like, you really gonna make me drink that, baby?
She's like, come on, it's good.
And she pours it in, and it's like 2 large chunks of something, and Ryan basically drinks it, throws up, and Gypsy's like, You don't actually think that tastes good, dude. You're putting on a little show for the f***ing camera. By the 3rd episode, he's always like, baby, I gotta go to work. Which I'm guessing they didn't tell you because they don't want you to be like, call there and f***ing harass him or whatever. And the only thing I could think of is that he worked at like a dog food factory. And I just imagine him like sitting getting interviewed. He's like, yeah, they always try to stop me from eating the dog food off the cart, but I always find a way. I got a nose like a bloodhound. Oh yeah, they drive to the airport and they try bringing in some conflict that they're gonna be late. He's talking to like the Armenian f***ing Uber driver. He's like, do you even know where you're going? She's like,
oh, come down, Ryan, Jesus.
Look around this.
What did I say about language?
but luckily they make it to New York on time, and basically Gypsy just goes on podcast. Ryan's just always the third wheel, kind of walking in and out, waving at people.
Oh, I get a hug. Nice.
Well, he's like, I don't want them following me. But then he like walks out. He's like, we love you. This show is just smearing this motherfucker because they're trying to build up Gypsy
it's so
as
weird,
like, likable. I think it's around the 3rd episode. She's even just like, Ryan's asking if she's heard from Ken.
It's like,
no, I haven't heard from Ken.
You can see it. You can see it boiling. Like, oh, she finna shake on this dude. Spoiler alert if you ain't heard yet. But yeah, it's bad.
From you to reach out.
It's the show is really diminishing to him.
You can say what's his face's name.
To Ken?
No,
No desire whatsoever.
Oh.
we're good.
But then she's lying to him and being like,
Yeah, I heard from Ken. He hit me up. He's talking to my family.
Something happens with Gypsy and Ken. That's
Yeah,
gonna
the
be-
mom was just pushing it so hard.
the family's even like, you should see Ken. But she also just makes it seem like he's a much better looking guy, Gypsy. Come on.
He's like,
They were fat shaming. They were fat shaming Ryan, and that's messed up,
But
bro.
I'm married to Ryan.
I'm like, this is gonna work out. They go visit the grandma's grave, and the
so
first thing Gypsy says is
cringy.
like, I know I didn't turn out like you wanted me to, which I was like, God damn, dude.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the fucking series
So
because there's
cringy
8
part.
episodes. You very quickly realize that like people were probably having a bidding war with her, and this I don't know if the fucking return on investment's gonna be very high because we're very quickly realizing there is absolutely no conflict besides the extremely obvious downfall of this relationship. Ryan is a bit insecure, but I just feel bad for him the whole fucking time. He just looks like a big stupid fucking goober walking around and stuff. It's one thing to be like, oh, we have no idea as the viewer, but the viewer knows the entire time that she's like, I don't know. I mean, I love this other guy. I just feel bad for the son of a bitch. I mean, no, I do. I don't know. By the end of episode 4, she's like, I'm loyal to my marriage, but then just burst into tears.
I love that
the rest
part.
Of the episodes, it's them going back and forth. They go to a fucking wedding venue. They eat some weird food, but it all culminates to a really funny scene of them in her car. Pretty much Gypsy just
The
breaks up
most
with him. I think
greatest scene of the
9
show. So
weeks
I
after
swear to
she's
God.
released from prison.
The scene in the
I
car.
want a divorce, and in 6 to 9 months, I'm gonna be with Ken.
Oof.
He has been dating her in prison for 2 years. She's released for a little over 2 months. That's when it kind of really, I feel like, hit me, is her breaking up with this guy. Tumultuous shit that goes on.
It made her into a heel. She turned heel. That was her heel turning moment right there.
People f up. People do weird things. People also fall out of love, and people have to break up,
you know,
do whatever. People
so
do bad
desperate.
shit. That's just between you two. And it's like so weird that there's 4 fucking cameras on this car in this dark parking lot watching this like relationship get destroyed.
It's a crucial scene, low
All
key.
of a sudden, are you not happy? When did this happen all of a sudden? When did you feel this?
Before she even left prison.
Unhappiness tonight?
He's just like, okay, well, all right. And then she just packs her shit and leaves. Baby, if you love it, I mean, are you not wanting to work?
The best, if you have a chance, the best part is at the end. I'm gonna spoil it. At the end, they do the outside interview of the car, and the outside interview outside of this car at this moment, classic.
For it, and she's just like, no, this is just gross. Like, God, like I feel fucking disgusting watching this. And then the whole thing ends with
Yeah,
her
that
getting
was
back
so
together with
dirty.
Ken. She
Ken was
has
just
a
waiting
talk
there
with her father about how she's gonna be together with Ken, and they have a joke about like, don't get pregnant too quick. We know, just like, give it time.
The last thing I wanted to see. She wants a baby. I'm gonna tell both of y'all, just wait.
And I'm not even joking. Maybe 15 seconds later, she's like,
I'm pregnant
Swear
with
to God,
Ken's
it was
baby.
crazy.
And it came back positive.
She's doing way too much.
Are you having a good time?
Inflation. It's all around us in California.
Killing us in Cali.
Gas, food prices, housing.
They keep cutting back to Ryan, and he's just sitting in this fucking apartment with this stupid dog he got for her, and he's just like, well, I hope that she comes back to me. I don't know.
To this day,
Keep
to this
talking
day,
in her ear about
he's
and the biggest
praying
thing of
because
all,
she comes
which I
back.
couldn't believe this until after the fact when we were talking about this. If you have a side-by-side of Ryan
messed up.
and
I
her
seen
mom, they look
That's
pretty
messed up.
fucking similar. I mean, like, actually, the show uses TikTok to show how the public is thinking of Gypsy about, like, the, you know, oh, she's here doing this, she's here doing that. And it feels gross because it once again feels like somebody who was manipulated at one time being manipulated again and is not actually living a real life. It just feels like now even the public has taken something. It kind of feels like World of Shirts. Joshua Block on TikTok. It's a kid who is mentally unwell, drinking himself to death, and then people kind of just poke at this thing because they're just like, oh, not understanding that there's like real human consequences behind it. But Gypsy has emotionally been to a point where she's like, murder is okay. So now we're going to with this again, which social media is the worst thing you could ever do for the human brain. And now you're putting this person up on a pedestal and manipulating shit again, which I believe since the show has aired, she's deleted all of her social media. And there was even the murder pics of her mom got released, and that was
turned
the
on
thing
her.
that swayed people over to be like, oh wait, this is like real.
And it
This
was
is like
so
some real
planned
shit.
out.
It was insane to
Last episode, they dropped those pictures of the mom's murder scene, and I swear the people, the congregation turned on her. Something serious that day.
me to see the public's reaction. I just saw Gypsy Rose's mom's murder photos, and I didn't know it was that f***ed up. It's like, what do you expect from 17 stab wounds? 200 stab wounds. Just has a new album out. Shout out to the new album. It's very good. All I know is now people are like, you're a monster. Hey, you're not the mother who's slaying like we thought you were, Gypsy. You actually did something f***ed up. It's like, yeah, I did that almost 10 years ago. Like, what are we doing? All in all, I don't know. It is a train wreck, an absolute dumpster fire. And I gotta say, I wouldn't recommend the show. Unfortunate. Trash TV is meant to be bad, but at the end of the day, it is meant to be fun. It is so fictitious and over the top that it's all scripted, all of it. That's fine. When I watch a season of Gold Rush and I watch a machine break 70 times and they act like that's the end of the world, it's fun. My favorite trash television show of all time, Bret Michaels' Rock of Love Bus. Do I think Bret Michaels is really going on any
I don't
of
think
these
a lot of
dates
black
with these
people watch that
No,
show.
but it's still fun watching white trash women try to get with the lead singer of Poison. If you haven't seen that show is awesome.
Growl like a tiger.
There'll always be that kind of scapegoat of a tortured soul that people either boost up or tear down. But it's one thing I know online, and even it's a fate that'll happen to me one day, is they love you till they hate you. It's just the way of the world. It's just the way the online space works, dude. You're on top now, but you can't be there forever, so enjoy it while you can. But if you're an ex-murderer or that kind of thing, I feel like that I don't know how real and stable that pedestal is for very long. So all I know is there's a crazy fucking story. I had to talk about it. It's just silly as fuck, so whatever. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Yo, it's a great the picture of Ryan. Oh, I love Ryan. I love Big Ryan. I want to go to New Orleans just to meet this dude, bro. Oh my God, what a video, man! Hey, subscribe, all that stuff, man.